Hey friends, hope you're doing well. We're really excited to be here today. It is Sunday, April 11th. It is the first Sunday after Easter. We had an incredible weekend last weekend in the parking lot. About 90 people gathered or so. Uh, and it was just a beautiful time. Our first meeting together in 6 months. It had been the second Sunday, October 10th, I think, was the last day we gathered. And so last Sunday was just this beautiful gathering. There were a lot of just beautiful moments as we got to see each other's faces. It's our first large gathering. Obviously, we've been meeting in micro churches, and this is a micro church Sunday, so the sermon will be here on our YouTube channel for you guys to catch up and watch. Um, this year, we began a journey into biblical literacy. Like, we just recognize the importance of biblical literacy in our congregation and how important it is. And so we started with the book of Proverbs. We looked at the wisdom that we need for life. Um, the author of Proverbs called it a companion for wisdom. Like we just need this a companion called wisdom to walk daily with us. And it was just a beautiful 6 weeks of going through Proverbs. Then we began the Lenten season and we looked at Old Testament prophets. We looked at these themes that recur over and over in the prophets. And we recognize that the reason they recur over and over is because they are part of the human condition, and these things pop up over and over again, and we still need to address these issues. So it's so important that we're doing that we are listening to the prophetic voices from old and recognizing that those are still issues today and that God is still speaking about them. We closed that entire thing, an entire series, not just a thing, but a series, and we actually wanted to talk about the hope that the prophets talked about. Things are bad now, but it's going to get better. And that's what last week was about. Coming out of Lent into a new series and moving forward with the resurrection. And the sermon was telling us that God is still moving stones today. That is the hope that we have. And so today we begin a new series called Following Jesus, a journey into the Gospel of Mark. And we're just really excited to push in and see where this gospel takes us. The truth is, Mark, I think, is the most overlooked of the Gospels. It's completely different than the others. It is 100% unique. It looks nothing like the other three. The truth is, Mark has an agenda, and there are two things he wants us to know. And because there is this agenda from beginning to end, and he's pushing us somewhere, there's no filler. Like, Mark just doesn't take time to um, tell these great stories. It's just so interesting the way Mark does it. It is one thing after another. But here's the deal. Mark wants us to know that Jesus was the Messiah. Jesus is the King, and he has brought a kingdom to earth. This kingdom is a socio-political and economic reality that is a total way of life. Now that's important because in modern times we have made the kingdom of God about Jesus' willingness to inhabit human hearts. Like, oh, Jesus lives in my heart. Isn't that special? And that's true, but it's not the message that Mark is bringing to us. This popular gospel is about changing someone on the inside, giving them a new perspective on life. It offers a sense of purpose, inner peace, and fulfillment in the present and an eternal destiny in the future. This popular modern gospel of Jesus living in my heart portrays Christian discipleship in terms of reordering one's inner world, what our affections, what our heart is turned towards, what our emotions are about. But if that is the gospel that you have been taught, you will find none of that in Mark. You will find none of that inner working thing happening in the book of Mark. Jesus calls for complete lives, not just for hearts. He's forming communities of people that will receive the kingdom by undergoing a thorough transformation, not just of our hearts, but of our community practices, our communal habits, our prejudices, our ideological commitments, and our social dynamics. Mark lets us know that social rankings will be overturned and that the conceptions of leadership that we have will be totally overthrown. Like, that's where Mark pushes us into. He pushes us into something way bigger than just me having a personal relationship with Jesus. Mark's view of the gospel is not a challenge for people to try harder or to embrace the call to a personal higher standard. It's actually an offer of relief for the oppressed. It is rest for the weary. It is hope for the beaten down. It's a warm embrace for the rejected and the outcast. It presents a sharp challenge to those who are benefiting from the status quo of society. Mark lets us know that if we have eyes to see that the kingdom of God is a dynamic, life-giving reality of healing and restoration, the real gospel in Mark is the proclamation of the arrival of the kingdom and the call to enter into it through a